Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing? This is Pastor Frank J. Knolton of the Leland Missionary Baptist Church. I'm coming to you this morning. Amen. We're going to start another interesting session of A Minute of Your Mind. We have someone here today that is very interesting. Just the journey that she has been on, someone that has just been consistent, and someone that I'm excited to just call family and friend. I'm going to ask you at this time, if you would, I want you to press like, share, set the notification device so that you won't miss any of our segments. So just make sure that you do all of those things to let somebody know. Press like it and share it, thumbs up, and all that stuff so that we can all make sure that when we get these interesting topics and these decisions that can be helpful to one another, this information that we get out there, and just this nice conversation that we're having on these mornings, just make sure you share it with someone and let somebody know. It's good to hear. I love to have the comments. And if there be an interesting guest that you would like to introduce and come in, a business person, just somebody that's made a wonderful journey in life, that's what we're here for. So we thank you so much. We have someone here that is an awesome individual, many accomplishments. We're going to talk about her journey, have some interesting enlightenment of conversations, and some guidance that may be supportive and help someone else along the way. This person is an educator, has a doctorate degree, Master of Science in Nursing, has been a nurse for over 30 years, a professor for 15 years, a Christian mother of 3 daughters, 20 grandchildren, 9 great-grands, and author of 6 books, a gospel soloist artist since the age of 5, married, amen, to a preacher, loves spending quality time with her family, friends, and her relatives. I'm going to introduce to some and present to others this wonderful woman of God. Come on, let's give it up for Dr. Juanita Crawford. Come on, let's give it up for her. I get my hand clapped for everybody. Woo-hoo, all that good stuff. How are you doing this morning? How you feeling, doctor?
I'm good, Pastor Knowlton. Glad to be here.
All right, all right. I just want to let you know, we just want to have a minute of your mind. I know some of you all have saw me when I came on. I came on with the big Kool-Aid smile. As I told you, a lot of these individuals I know personally, I have to pull on them, grab them, and coerce them into getting online. And some will get frustrated with me, but I don't care. I'm going to get them on, and we're going to get the information out because they are wonderful people. I thank God that he just placed such awesome people around me. And this is just another awesome person that's around me. And I'm sharing these individuals that I know with each and every one of you, that it may be someone and something that's said in testimony of their lives that can enlighten you and lift you through these times that we're going through. Because I know it is rough for people, and we've been hearing all sorts of things on the news, but I still just want to let you know that there are still great things that God is doing. And there's still people that even in this pandemic that are prevailing and moving forward. And now we want to get the interesting topics of how individuals that are Christian-based are handling these different things that's happening and going through milestones in life. So I just want to have a minute of your mind. Is that all right, Doc? Is that all right today? I get a minute of your mind.
That's fine.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. I want to ask you this question first. Blacks make up less than 15% of registered nurses across the country. What are some factors that you think that contribute to this?
First and foremost, Pastor Knowlton, is the financial status. Blacks don't have a lot of money reigning in their families. And also there's a lack of math and science skills. When students enroll for a nursing program, they have to take a pre-examination, and a lot of Afro-Americans, that is, fail on the part of math and science. Also, they have a lack of understanding of critical thinking and creative thinking. And they take a lot of things lightly. They have a lot of lack of faith in themselves also. And another big one is poor support systems.
Mm.
A lot of them um, don't have anyone to support them when they enroll in nursing school. Even though they make it in, the support system is not there, and they end up leaving because majority of our females are unwed mothers striving, trying to make something of themselves. And a lot of times I hear them stating that they don't have babysitters and they don't have a support system to encourage them to go
Wow. Okay. That's I
on.
could understand the realities of that. So basically, we're saying that we need to work more greatly on our math skills with our youngsters that are in school and getting those science skills that are in place as they begin to have their education in the lower grades as they go up. And so that's what you see as a lack from being a professor and having those individual students that come in. Is that, am I correct in that? Just saying that?
That's correct. And when it comes to nursing, a lot of the math is the basic math upon entering into the program. But once you get in the program, it's a lot of the metric system.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Afro Americans don't know anything about the metric system. And something like that can cause them to be put out of the program.
All right. Well, we're getting it straight from the professor that anybody that's interested, I'm going to talk to some people that we know and see if what's that called? The metro system?
Yeah, metric.
Metric. Oh, metric.
Yes, they use it a lot in Canada.
I thought you said the metro. I was about to say, well, I don't know what the bus ride got to do with it. Get it out here, but maybe is that something I ain't never heard before? So it's the metro system. I said, well, let's roll with metro. Only thing I know about was the metro bus. Yeah,
Okay.
the metric system. All right, all right. You guys, listen, please forgive me. You know that I always try to keep a light mood with whatever we're doing. But what it is that,
Humor. I love
yeah,
humor.
yeah, you know, it's just there. We just had a little breakup in our communication. Could be because of the snowstorms or things of those sorts. But that's it. So we're going to move on a little further. Thank you so much, Dr. Crawford. All right. Well, you know what? Hey, guys, these are guests that are on here that I am familiar with. And a lot of times before we even come on the air, I have a lot of just different, I loosen them up. Because I just,
Highly appreciate it.
so I loosen them up. I want them to meet my people. As I say, as I present them to you, these are the same individuals that if you should see them, I want you to approach them the same way. So,
Amen.
thank you
Amen.
so much for that, Dr. Crawford. The metric system. You had me, listen, you had me nervous on that because I said, wait a minute now. Is this a new mathematic? And I don't know about you threw me for that one, but the metric system, boy, this electronic stuff, boy, get to you after a while. All right, all right. So let's moving on. Number two, what advice would you give someone entering nursing school or someone that is considering nursing as a second career? Because I know that there are, I could remember that there were individuals that would pick up like the LPN program, you know, get a second job and things. But with you having such a seasoned career, and there are a lot of nurses that I know as well, but with you having such a seasoned career, what would be for that person that's entering in or that person that's taking it as a second career? What would you, what advice would you give them with the way things are now?
The first thing would be proactively making sure that nursing is what you want to go into. A lot of they go into thinking that you make a lot of money in nursing, and I'm not saying that you can't. In certain areas, you can, but you have to actually go into nursing and have a heart for nursing to be satisfied with that career. Otherwise, you'd be going into a third career.
Okay.
You choose nursing from the heart, sincerely wanting to help someone. It would never be a job to you, and you'll love it, and you stay there in that field, and you'll be effective in that field. But if you're going in it for the money, when it comes to the critical and creative thinking at the time, you lose your way. So just make sure that that's exactly what you want to go into nursing for, and be proactive. Like I was telling you earlier about the difficulties that some nurses have when you plan to. If you fail to plan, you have to plan so you won't fail. So I would always say, always have a plan A, B, and C. If you know you don't have a support system for some predicaments that's in your life, then you're not ready for the nursing program. Because I would tell you, like a professor told us when we first started nursing school, when you get into nursing school, you're married to nursing school. And however long your program is, whether you're going for LPN, which is 1 year, that's 1 year you're married to that program. You have to be focused. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
Okay.
If you're going for 2 or 4 year programs, the same thing. It's almost like you have to give up a lot of other things that you were interested in to focus on nursing as a whole. It's not a part. There's no going out, having fun, thinking you're going to get up and pass an exam. No, you have to really be focused. And a lot of Afro-Americans, they think they can do both. And they find out they can't. And next thing you know, they're out of the program. Because when you miss one part of nursing, it's not like you can come and get right back in. You have to go up against the governing board to be put back in. And if they don't deem it necessary to be put back in, they might make you remediate, do some other things before coming back into the program. So you really want to make sure that this is what you really want to do before you even think about getting into nursing.
Yeah, well,
From the heart.
Yeah, I know that that's very important because of the fact you're dealing with people's lives. People's lives are in your hand, and their care and trust of their family, and it's all those things. And I know that I was expecting this. I said, "Oh, I know when I talk to Dr. Crawford, she's gonna get serious on," because I've seen you in action. That you are no nonsense when it comes when it comes to. I said this is gonna be a contradiction because I will be smiling and she's gonna be telling him, "Nope, if you don't do it, this is the outcome." Boom, black or white. But I'm very appreciative of the directness and what's going on. That it's, a lot of people have to realize that playtime is over. And this is a wonderful career that can sustain your life, and just so many different, things that happen with being able to have a financial balance and a career that can move on. And you know what that's like. You have 20 grandchildren, 3 great grandchildren. So I know that when those times come around, you have to make sure you have things in order. But we know you're a cream puff on the inside. But I do understand Professor Dr. Crawford has to handle her business. It seems as though honestly, I would say these last few weeks. Now that I'm looking back on it, it looks like it's the empowerment of strong African American women. Take this for Black History Month. As I'm going back in my mind, it just hit me. It's like, wow, these last couple of weeks I've been having some powerful women on here, entrepreneurs, different people, shakers and movers. So I'm just happy. I'm excited with that. Let me ask this third question. As we're going to end our Black History Month, and we'll soon be kicking off Women's History Month. When did you feel that was the most accomplished and prideful moment that you had in your career? We're getting ready to wrap up Black History Month, and we're moving into the month of our Women's History Month. For you, what was the moment that you were the proudest, in your career? What was that moment for you that it was like, wow, it was it?
Believe it or not, it was actually when I graduated from nursing school in 1990. It wasn't so much that I had completed the nursing school, it was passing the state board exam, because you finish nursing school and not pass that state exam and it'll all be in vain. So when I
Wow.
passed the state board exam, it made me felt content and as if I was worthy of the degree.
All right.
I was really happy about that. And I was even more happier when I was on the floor as a professional nurse and learning the roles
Hmm.
and feeling just really good about myself. I felt really good because I always, all my life, I knew I was going to be a nurse. My mother knew I was going to be a nurse, even though she didn't live to see me become a nurse. She always told people I was a nurse. But to God be the glory. That was
Yes.
my um, accomplishment when I passed the state board finished
Yes.
nurse.
Yes. Yes. That's all right. All right. Um, let's move into another area. Let's move into another area. This area is one that I'm very uh, um, very sensitive about when it comes to you and talking to you, because I know that you're passionate about this. As a published author, tell us um, about your book and what inspired you, and what was your inspiration in your writing. Because I in this about the last 5 years, I've met a lot of individuals that are authors and are writing books, and I'm just amazed, to how they just get into it, the process and moving and writing and what they write about, and sometimes divulging some of their most inner um, issues or problems of overcoming and what they've been through to the world. I mean, just putting it out there. And I mean, what was it that, inspired you to do your writings?
Pastor Nolan was an amalgamation of so many thoughts in my head till I actually went to the Lord about what is all these thoughts in my head. And I got, every time I turn around, and He blessed me with so many gifts. It's not just writing, it's so many gifts. When I started writing down all the gifts, I was, to God be the glory, and I was thinking about all these thoughts was clouding my mind, and He inspired me. He said, just write. He said,
Hmm.
just write. I said, I don't know nothing about no writing. He, uh,
Don't you sound just like a child of God? Always, I don't know about this. We always, I don't know about this one.
and just like you said, it was like basically it came to me, you questioning me, my answer from God. So it's like I don't even know where to start. So what I did was, He said, just start writing. And
Hmm.
so that's exactly what I started doing. I started writing stuff on the computer. It was all out of place. It's like, what am I doing? And next thing I know, after I started writing, it was like He just came through my mind and started organizing. Put this here, put this there. This in chapter 1, this in chapter 2. I was like, oh my God, I don't believe I'm actually doing this. And so after my first book, I was really impressed. I was highly impressed because I couldn't believe I had wrote that book.
Hmm.
And then next thing I know, He started coming, write this, write this, write that, write that. And my first book, that was my prize book because it talks about when I first started out as a nurse aide and went
Hmm.
off to the doctor degree, and how God was there for me and all the miracles He performed.
Hmm.
I don't want to get too emotional here because I will get emotional every time because He was there for me and all
Yes.
the, you wouldn't believe some of the miracles He performed. And then one example is when I was going to nursing school and I didn't have bus fare to get on the bus, but I wanted to be in school. And I had a couple of pennies change. And He just told me, get on the bus and throw it in. And I got on the bus, threw it in. I was glad it was crowded, and I ran to the back. And the bus driver, he looked at me and he didn't say a word. And I was, thank you, Lord. And my thought was, when I get to school, one of my friends will give me bus fare to get home. So I was appreciative of that. And that's just one miracle he performed for me, but I'm not going to tell you about the other ones. You have to get the book. That's the first one. And mercy of God, I made it. And then some of my other books, I'm not going to talk about all 6 of them, but the last one that I recently finished it is called The Ford Family, Relatives and Friends Book of Poetry. And I dedicated that to my oldest sister and my mother, who both deceased. They both wrote poetry, and my mother would make us get up in the middle of the night, recite it, just like she did with songs. You know, she was a musician. My dad was a pastor, and this is something she had all these gifts. And my oldest sister, she had all these gifts, and they wrote so many poems. I just wanted to write a book in remembrance of them. And some of their poems is in there, and I tried to remember a lot of the poems that my mother taught us when we was young, but it wasn't right there. But they was close to there. But a lot of them, they linger in my mind. But come to find out, when I start writing, because I was like, this is crazy. How am I I can't remember all her poems. God showed me I had the gift for that. I started writing. I was like, what is going on here, Pastor? I was like, what is going on? And I looked at some of the poetry that I wrote, and I cannot believe it. And I know that even through poetry, people turn it into songs and different things. You never know what it's something, but it's something that can be left for the family and in remembrance of my mother and my sister.
Yes.
And come to find out, a lot of the my family, they have the gift too. So in that book, you read a lot of poetry, and a lot of them are religious poems. Because I'm highly religious orientated.
Yes. Yes.
One book I wrote is called And Jesus Said Unto Her, Talitha Kumi. And that's a fictional book. And I wrote that book because one of the young girls at my church, she came up to me, she said, Sister Crawford, why you don't write a book for young people? I looked at her and I said, she's right. So I wrote this fictional book about a young character who had a tormented family lifestyle. Her family disorganized and disorientated and was not paying her any attention, and she was raised more so by this elderly woman of the church. And through this woman of the church, her whole family was saved. And this young woman became a professional singer and a doctor. You gotta read that one.
Yes. You even when you say that, it's so awesome, and oftentimes that just that last book that you were mentioning about, there are many stories that's not a fictional book. That's a fact in a lot of churches, and that's the way I can recall church being. You would always have someone in the church that was that spiritual adopter, that mother of the church, or that deacon of the church that would, that would push you and raise you along and be there for you. And, that's just something about the community of Christians, the community of a good structured church, that we're there for one another. And that's just the beauty of being around the servants of the Lord, those that have the heart of God and those that have love. And so there's so many. I want to make sure that we put that information out there, and I want to get that because I do believe that a lot of people will say, "No, she came over and looked at me and wrote that book," because that's what Mother so and so did for me. That brings back you bring a tear to my eye when I'm thinking about when I go back in my mind the churches that I've been involved in, and those spiritual adoptive parents that have been there. Those individuals.
And that's ironic you would say that, Pastor Knolton, because my brother, who he recently passed away, he was a pastor, and when he read the book, he called me crying, saying that was him.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I was highly impressed. And I know that a lot of people know that when Jesus spoke to the young woman and said, Talitha Kumi, that means rise up and walk. This book is in relationship, is encouraging young people to rise up and do anything that they can do even when people doubt them. And this young woman in the book, she was teased a lot about what she couldn't do. And this
Hmm.
particular woman that we're speaking of in the church helped her and helped her rise to the level that she wanted to be. You know,
Yes.
what she wanted to become a doctor. She wanted to be a professional singer. And
Yes.
this woman, without this woman, she would have never, that would have never happened. How about that?
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
God is sending the right support in your life. He'll send the right person in your life at the right time. Yes. Yes, he will. Yes. Yes, is and that's good for that to be said, especially in times like this, in times where a lot of youth, there's dormancy. There's so much dormancy that's going on.
right.
The beauty of it is I'm a kid at heart, and with
Me
my
too.
children, with my children being home, it's like playtime. I got my children at home, and anybody that knows me, hey, listen, I like my toys and things like that. And the wife says, "Go, you
That's
and
that's
them,
my
go." Yeah, so we outside and just doing things, and but at the same time, there are um, those that I see that are around me, even some of my children's friends, that they don't have the same support system, the same attention for whatever, not nothing necessarily negative, but people have to work, long times, and sometimes they're just not the adjustments that's there. And so, as a Christian community, it's good to bring those things back to remembrance and understanding that what
so important.
there's some Christians that's there to make a difference, and we can make a difference in someone else's life. And so we will make sure we get that book out there. I'm asking you this, and I took a whole lot of minutes of your mind, but this is the
That's
last
okay.
question. Last question I've asked a minute of your mind. What's next? What I mean, you've done so much, but yet there's still that light. There's still that zeal. What's next for Dr. Crawford? What's the next move? If we from what you've said and what I know about you and what you're explaining, that there's just always another level of something. What next is there that's coming?
And Pastor Knowlton, that's a good question. And I always question myself. And my philosophy is that I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know who holds the future.
All right, all right.
My prayer is that I learn to listen more closely to God and what He's telling me to do. And I pray to hear it clearly so that I can follow in the steps that He wants me to follow. I know that I will continue to write books because I still have a lot in my mind, and a certain period in my time where God was speaking to me. You wouldn't believe this, but I don't care. But a lot of people don't believe me when I was saying He was speaking to me, but He came to me and He gave me at least 50 titles that I'm to write on. And I don't know at this point if it's titles to be in one book or
Hmm.
the title to be in 50 books. So I'm still praying and asking Him to lead and guide me, but I guess I'll still be writing. I don't like writing, but the thing is, you have to know when to write. You just
Okay.
can't think, oh, I'm going to write. It's, God comes to you, inspire you to write, and sometimes it be at the wee hours of the morning where I
Hmm.
don't feel like it. And that's one most important thing about writing. When God comes to you, you need to get up and write that down right then and there, or it never comes back to you.
Wow.
I
Wow.
know doing that, and then I mentor. I have mentees who's working on her doctorate. I mentor anybody, and I do it for free. I don't mind because
All
it's just
right.
that's just me. I'm out here to help, and anybody would tell you that know me, especially nursing students, how hard I am on them. I'm a nurturer, but I'm strict when it comes to you accomplishing your goals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One of my I have to tell this. One of my students, when she met me in class, And I'm not a cursing woman, but she said, yeah, we thought you was the instructor from hell. But after she learned, when they learned who I was, they learned to love me. But I don't know why I got out here. It's like I'm so mean. I never knew I had that appearance.
Dr. Crawford, let me talk to Juanita. Juanita don't play. Believe me, I understand. You forget those times that I came and snuck into the class and like, man, you need a bodyguard. You gonna need a bodyguard leaving out of here.
I don't mean to be mean. I just like to be serious. Like, like the word of God says, be decent and in order. And when it comes to certain, you just have to be a certain way.
Yes.
But I love you. You know I love you.
Yes. Yes. Well, I thank God for, I know that you have been busy. I know that you're exhausted now. I know that there's a lot going on, but I thank you for this time. It's just very interesting. And I want to, there are a lot of personal people inside my church, as well as just people that I know in my family and that are surrounding. I just want to get them out to the people. It's very important that I want people to just know, going through this pandemic, as I said earlier, God is good. And there are Christians that are prevailing and moving forward and purposeful and still helping others and not sitting paranoid, on the background, but are still saying that, listen, God has mission for me, and I'm going to move out on my mission for the Lord and keep even going further. So I thank you just for your experience in life. As she said, you have mentees. So if you don't mind, I'm going to talk to you and make sure that I can put it up at the end of the show, that if there may be a young woman or a young man or someone that's seasoned in life that's looking and has taken this time, because as I've said before, that doing this now going into a year, this actually has given a lot of people a lot of time to think and make some adjustments along the way in their life. And if this may be an adjustment that you want to make, you have somebody here. You have a professor, not from HELL hockey sticks, but you have a professor that will support you, someone that's there, someone that has been in the trenches for over 30 years and has gone through all the different levels. A nurse that's a doctor. A nurse that has received her doctorate gone the highest level that she could possibly go. And I just thank you. I just thank you so much. Please tell the family I said hi. Don't say nothing to the grandchildren. There's too many of them. There's this gang of the gang. You say something to the grandchildren or the great. Grandchildren, go to the great grandchildren. I can handle them, but all 20 grandchildren, that's too many. I can't play catch up with all of them. But I thank you. Please let your husband know I love him, and I thank you for next time. And I'll get that information out to you, man. And we just thank you for your journey that you have given us, and we know that there'll be others that are going to be inspired by what you have said. God bless you. Thank you for a minute of your mind. I'll get right back to you. Thank you so much for those of you that tuned in today. There are a lot of professionals that are working out in the fields of life that we are looking at. I felt this was interesting to get someone, especially during this time of COVID, especially during this time that we are dealing with sicknesses, and to know once again that there are Christians that are in these places and that are there and that are moving and going through the different challenges and changes in life. And although we may seem that life has been put on pause, but as I said, we don't want to be paranoid. We want to be careful. We don't want to be fearful in all that we do. But in understanding that as well, that there are those individuals that have trusted in the Lord and in times like this are still progressing, still moving forward. I wanted to bring this guest on to be encouraging to somebody that might be challenged to go a different field or might be challenged about what they may want to do. This is someone that we can connect with, someone that we know, someone that told their story to us today, an author, a professor, a nurse, mother, grandmother, wife, great-grandmother, wonderful friend, sister, and daughter. And we thank you for those that have locked in to us today. And listen, to a minute of your mind. And so we'll have another interesting guest that's coming on our weeks to come. I thank you for your time. Let us please be considerate and be our celebration of our Black history heritage, as well as moving forward and other just celebrations that's coming up in this year. God bless you and love you. Remember, I think it's like, share, leave a comment, put on the notification so that you won't miss any segment of a minute of your mind. I'm getting ready to sign off now. I want to sign off with letting you know that I love you. You got to have love. I want you to have peace and joy in your life. And I don't care what's going on. You got to keep on praying. God bless you. Thank you for a minute of your mind.